Hey dudes, my name's Blekoh, and today we're gonna do a Blekoh Jam. What's a Blekoh Jam? Well, it's a game jam with me. The theme will be randomly generated, and I'll be setting a timer, so hopefully we end up with an actual game, but we'll see. Alright, so to decide the theme, we'll use the wheel. So first up, let's decide the genre for the game. Yep. So it's gonna be a side scroller. Next up, there'll be one rule for the game. Running out of power. Next up, we have the setting for the game. Yep, that's a good one. Superhero. Finally, we have the theme for the game. Treasure hunt. So for this game, it's gonna be a side scroller with a rule of running out of power, a setting of superhero, and the theme is treasure hunt. Alright, so we're gonna put 2 hours on the clock, and we're gonna be making the side scroller running out of power superhero treasure hunt game. So let's go. First up, let's just go ahead and open Godot. So in Godot, I'm gonna go ahead and set up my project. There's a few settings that I wanna just get set up. Alright, next up, I'm gonna go ahead and drag over sort of like startup structure for my games, because I like keeping it so that I know what the structure of my project normally looks like. So I'm just gonna drag these over and spoop. So I pretty much always have an add-ons folder when I want to add in plugins. I like to have an assets folder that is like for image project files. So a lot of times this is like for Sprite files, and then I like to have my sound folder that normally just has my sound effects and music. And in the source folder, I kind of group things up. So I usually have my GUIs, then any instances, and my tile sets. And this is not always the same for every project. And then I have a few scripts that are kind of just like helper scripts that I usually keep in. They give me like a little bit of functionality for like arrays and dictionaries and stuff like that. And I just use them so much that I like to put them in every project. So let me actually go ahead and add that as an auto load, which is sort of like a singleton class. So you can just call it anywhere in the code. So if I was in here and I had a function, then I can call stuff from my collection tools, which is it's collection tools because I do a lot of things with collections. Alright, so what do we need to do? So the game is a side scroller, so that's actually pretty good. I've done a lot of side scrolling games, so let's go ahead and set up the main scene. So I'll go ahead and I usually just make a main node, or it could be whatever you want, but it's just the node that the project's gonna start on. So I'm gonna call it main. So now when I run it, it just brings up that main scene, which there's nothing in it, so it's gray. Alright, so now since it's a side scroller, I need a character. So let's go ahead and in my things that I dragged over, I sometimes I like to use like a basic character controller and I'll probably add more to this folder later. So I'm gonna drag this into the main scene. So what does the character controller look like? There's not much to it. It's just a thing that I can, it inherits the character body 2D object, and it just lets me move it around. So if I can like give it gravity and a resistance and apply forces to it, and I'm just used to characters like that, so I like to just start with that. So we have it in here. It's just an icon right now, so let's go ahead and give it a collision shape. And I'll give it a capsule shape. And I can set some of those parameters that I had in the script. So I can give it some gravity. It has a resistance. So let me just go ahead and run it. And so it just moves. And the reason it moves is because it's applying an initial force. So 200 in the X direction and minus 200 in the Y direction, which will just send my character up and to the right because Y is negative in Godot. Alright, so we have the character controller, but we need an actual character. So let's see, our theme is treasure hunt with a setting of superhero, and the rule is that we're running out of power. Okay. And it's a side scroller. Let's see. I'm kind of thinking maybe... so treasure hunt, since we're running out of power, I mean, I feel like we should be looking for things to give us either more power or... I mean, I feel like that's the easy solution, is to look for things that would give us power to keep going. And then maybe when you run out of power, I mean, the game ends. And a setting of superhero. So either I could be a superhero, or the things or like enemies that I'm against could be a superhero. The easy answer is that I'm a superhero. All right, well, I'm just going to go with that. I'm going to go with I'm a superhero, and I'm looking for things that keep me powered up. And so as I'm doing as I'm making the character, I can think of what I'm actually going to be doing. So let's open up a sprite. Let's make a new file. Let's just go with a 64 by 64 sprite. I mean, that's pretty high, but I like to have like a little bit of room to just make the character, even if it's not gonna be that big. All right. So, and then let me, on my other monitor, pull up some references. All right. I got a few references. Let's do some outlines. At a minimum, I need sort of like a static idle. So let's go ahead and make something that would be like the idle pose. All right. So we've got something. It doesn't look good, but I mean, you know, we only got 2 hours and that took about 20 minutes. So let's go ahead and get an idle animation going. All right, let's play the animation and see how that looks. It doesn't look very good, but we're gonna go with it. Next up, we need some sort of movement. So he's a superhero, so I don't necessarily think he has to run. I think he could fly. So that might make things a little easier, because then I don't have to do like a running animation, and all I would have to do is kind of make him fly. So we're gonna go with that. All right, so to make him fly, I kind of want him to be, I don't want to like rotate him a bunch, because I think that'll make it harder. So I think if he's just like flying and his cape is kind of like flowing a little bit in the wind. So let's go ahead and let me look up a flying superhero pose. All right, so for this one, let's make him go. Well, I don't need to move him. Let's keep him in the same spot, but let's move his legs in so that he's kind of like, he's like gonna be floating. So all right, let's see what that looks like. I mean, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. All right, so that took up a lot of our time, and he doesn't look good, but we only have 2 hours, so I'm just gonna go with it. So let's go ahead and let me save this. Let's go ahead and open Godot back up and pull in our our pretty awful he's not gonna look good, but you know what? That's okay. This is the first one, and we'll see. Maybe we'll get better as we keep making more of these. So let's see. It's gonna be 8 frames long, and let's go ahead and scale him up a little bit. So for my player, let me go ahead and make this a scene. So this is gonna be the player, and the sprite will be my superhero. And I'll do this one more time. There were 8 frames. So I need an animation player. There's different ways that you can control animations, but I like to have a sprite 2D and an animation player. So let's make the idle animation. So this is gonna be when he's like on the ground. And then I usually do it where I just control the frame. So for the idle animation, we'll go into the sprite 2D, and it'll be frame 0, 1, 2, 3. So then we need to resize the animation, and let's play it, and we'll make it loop. And it looks pretty bad, but you know what? That's okay. Next up, we need a fly animation. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the fly animation. And we'll do the same thing. Property track, sprite 2D, and frame. And let me go into the sprite 2D, go up over to where he's where he broke his legs, and he looks bad. Let's see, how many was it? Oh, all right. So that's the same length, so 0.4, and I'll make that looping as well. So he'll be flying when he's like this. And so now we have a player. So let's give the player, let's extend the script. So we'll make a player script. And on, let's just do in the ready function, I'll do the animation player, and oh, I can't type. We're gonna play idle, and we'll make our player not, let's not give him any force right now, so he won't be moving from the start except for any gravity that's applied to him. And I do have gravity right now, so let's go back to the main scene and put in my player, and let's scale him up just a little bit. All right, so now he's in our game and he falls down. So now I have a player, but I need a world. So let's see. If he's gonna be mostly flying, how do I want to make the world? I mean, actually, well, so he has to be running out of power. That's the rules of the game. And there has to be some type of treasure hunt, but I said that I was gonna mix those in with running out of power. So if my superhero needs to collect stuff, let's go ahead and I guess let me give him some controls just so that I can play around with them. And so let's see, how do I want to, I guess I need a left and right and a fly button. So now I have a superhero who can fly, but he doesn't land or anything, and he only faces one direction. Alright, so we can move our little character around, but there's nothing to really do. He kind of reminds me of Math Blaster. So now that we can fly around, we need to actually make a game. Let's see. I know I added an idle animation, but maybe if he's just flying all the time, or when you start flying, it like starts the game. Because this could be something sort of like an infinite runner, except we could go in the up direction, and shapes and things could come from the sky to block us and prevent us, but we have to like dodge them and then get the things that keep our power going. So let's see, we do need power, and I basically, as you're flying, I can just make the power go down. So as you fly, your power goes down, and then, or as you're like actively flying, yeah, the power goes down, and you've got to collect things to give you more power. Alright, so we can start the player on like some type of ground, and then once they take off, then it starts the game, and then they gotta fly. So let me go back to the main. So we have our player. Let's move them down kind of here. We need some type of ground. So instead of, I mean, I could make something, but we are running low on time. So I think it'd be better just to use some like rectangles and stuff as ground for now. So let me make let me go into instances and create a new scene. Let's make it a static body, add a collision shape. And this is just gonna be a rectangle. And then I'm gonna add a color rect. And let's change this color to be, our background is gray right now. We will make it a more darker gray. Go back to the main, and we should be able to put in a ground. Wow, that's really small. Let's make that bigger. All right, let's put this in here. I don't know if this is gonna work. Yeah, there we go. It did work. Ha! Got him. So now we have a ground and we can fly. But we need some type of energy. It doesn't have to be an infinite runner going up. It could be more of like a explore the map, which could be like pretty much procedurally generated and or semi procedurally generated, and we collect our power things. Since I know that we need power, let me go ahead and add a HUD that'll just have how much power you have. So in the HUD, we are going to, well, we'll add a HUD. So we'll do a canvas layer. So that says power, do 100 power. So let's see how that looks in the game. So we have 100 power and we can fly around, but the power is not real. So we are going to be setting the power. We could do that in the player. I guess we could do it either in the player or up at this level, but I'm just going to do it in the player. So the player will have a current power amount. It's going to be an int, and we're going to set it to 100. So you start out with 100 power. So if the move direction dot y is let's see, is less than 0, so that means you're going up, then we will subtract from the current power 1 times delta. So the current power will just be subtracted as you're flying, and then in a process function, let's we can cheat and get the parent, which is our main, and look for and we're going to set text of our current power label to our current power, and we'll cast it to a string, and we'll cast it to an int string. This is cheating, and it's not a good way to do this, but so now as I hold up, it uses power, and when I let go, it's not using power anymore. So that's pretty cool. Well, we do need a camera. So the player, we can add a camera to the player, which is not a great, actually, I don't want to, it's not a great way to add a camera to the player, because then it's like the camera just seems really like static. It's like it doesn't normally look very good, but we can just see how it looks. So see how the player is just kind of like static and in the middle. It doesn't look good when you add the camera to the player. Normally I would let it like zoom around, but since this is the first Blekoh Jam and I don't have much time left, I need to get something going. So we need something for power. So let's make a let's go into Sprite, and make a new sprite. We can make it, we can make this one pretty small. Let's make it 32 by 32. And I'm just going to quickly put together, like, this will be like a power coin thing. Okay, that's good enough. So this is gonna be the power coin, power token, which is also a treasure because that's that was one of the prompts. So let's export that. Alright, time is a ticking. So we have our power token, and the power token gives us power. And we can fly around, and I added a label with the current power. So as you fly, your power goes down, and when you get power tokens, your power goes up. But now we need a goal. So I went ahead and made a goal scene. I think I'm gonna spice it up a bit and throw a shader on it. We'll name it the goal shader, and we'll throw the stuff that we copy. Ooh, look at that! It's kind of whizzy-waz. I kind of want to make it an actual sprite. We're gonna throw the shader on this thing too. So your goal will be to find this thing. Alright, so that's our goal. Let's throw it in the main scene. We got 18 minutes left. Go ahead and put the goal in here. We're gonna make this bigger. Our goal, you know, it's to find ourselves. Usually superheroes lose themselves along the way, and so our goal is to rekindle our inner self and find ourselves again. So this is going to be the goal. Let's give it a script. So it's going to be a lot like the power token. On the body entered, and like the power token, if it's the player, if the body is player, and if body.current power is greater than 0. So you can't cheat, and if you don't have any power, you don't get to the goal. So if this happens, then we're gonna do one of the reach around techniques and dangerously get the win panel and make it visible. And we'll make the lose one not visible, just to make sure that you can't see the win panel at the same time. Alright, so now if we go back to the main, if I fly around and I find my goal, you win, loser. But yeah, so a little while ago, I made in the main class, I made a win panel and a lose panel. And so the lose panel just says you lose, loser. And the win panel says you win, loser. So if you hit the goal, then you win. If you run out of power, then you lose. And so now we just need to start building out a level. Let's duplicate the ground and make this a procedural ground. So our procedural ground, we're just gonna start out and make this, it's just a rectangle. We have a collision shape on it, and so what I'm gonna do here, so the ground has a transfer, so it's scaled. Let's see how big that is in the main. So if I pull in a procedural ground, it's not that big, but it's a good size. So in the main, I really don't like doing this in in main, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So let's see, I'm just gonna add a script to main, which is not a great idea, but in the ready function, we're going to for 500 times, we're going to call another function, random ground. So for 500 times, we are going to just create a bunch of these rectangles. So we're gonna do, let me get the procedural ground path. We're gonna do a new grounds equals load, throw the ground in there, and we're gonna do instantiate. It's actually just a new ground, and then we're going to add that to our main object, which is not a great idea, but that's how I'm going to do it for now because we got 12 minutes left. So if we add that, we're also going to set a random position. So we're going to create random ground. We're going to also create random power tokens. Create random power token. So now I'm not going to do 500 of those. I'll do, I'm going to do 50 of them for now and see how that kind of goes. I also want the goal to, on the ready function, we'll choose some random position to start with. So I don't know where the goal is. It could be anywhere. I gotta find power tokens. I found some. Come back here. Yeah, there we go. So gonna get my power tokens. I don't know. Oh, there's the goal. Ha! That's pretty easy. Spoop! You win, loser. Hey, let's see, how much time we got? We got 2 minutes and 55 seconds. So, let's make a new scene. Power Man. Alright. I think that's it. I think time is up. So this is Power Man. Let's play the game. See how it turned out. Power Man. Start. So we got our Power Man. So if I go, I'm fine and I collect some power. And yeah, when I get these power tokens, I find my power. And the main thing is that I'm looking for the goal, which is just a hologram of myself. Power Man's not real. It's just kind of like a metaphor. I have no idea where the goal. Oh, I found the goal. You win, loser. Yeah. So that's Power Man. I mean, that was pretty fun. I mean, it could have gone better. I think you know, I'll learn and hopefully be able to make something cooler next time. But I mean, yeah, that was the Blekoh Jam, and that was pretty fun. So I guess I'll see you dudes in the next one.